Act 3 opens exactly as Act 2 had ended. Eric guiltily says to the inspector, "You know, don't you?" The conversation quickly turns to Eric's drinking habits, and they argue bitterly. The heated exchange is interrupted by the inspector, who turns the focus back to the tragic story of Eva Smith. Under pressure, Eric confesses how he met Eva at the Palace Bar while he was drunk. Eric admits, "I was in that state when a chap easily turns nasty," revealing that he insisted on going back to her lodgings despite her reluctance. It seems he forced himself on her, but claims not to remember. "And I didn't even remember. That's the hellish thing. Oh my God, how stupid it all is." That night had led to a series of other meetings, and eventually Eva disclosed that she was pregnant. Eric offered to marry her, but Eva refused since Eric didn't love her. She did, however, accept money from him to support herself, unaware that Eric had stolen £50 from Mr. Birling's office. When Eva discovered the truth about the stolen money, she refused to take any more and broke off contact with Eric. Mr. Birling is furious upon learning of Eric's theft, but Eric defends himself, saying, "You're not the kind of father a chap could go to when he's in trouble." Birling responds angrily, "Don't talk to me like that. Your trouble is, you've been spoilt." When the inspector mentions Mrs. Birling's involvement with Eva, Eric seems to jump on the chance to shift the blame, lashing out at his mother and accusing her. "Then you killed her. She came to you to protect me, and you turned her away. Yes, and you killed her. And the child she'd had too. My child. Your own grandchild. You killed them both. Damn you. Damn you." Sybil, horrified, tries to defend herself, but Eric's anger is unrelenting. The inspector seems to lose patience and commands them to stop. He angrily reminds them each of their part in Eva's demise, before imploring them to remember how society is connected in, "We don't live alone. We are members of one body. We are responsible for each other." He emphasizes that their actions have irreversible consequences and urges them to consider how their behavior impacts others. "If men will not learn that lesson, then they will be taught it in fire and blood and anguish." With that, the inspector departs, leaving the family in stunned silence. The Birlings soon turn on each other. Mr. Birling blames Eric for his theft and recklessness, while Sheila criticises her parents for their lack of remorse and accountability. However, Gerald returns with surprising news. He has spoken to a police sergeant who confirmed that no one named Inspector Gould is on the force. The family begins to unravel the night's events with a new perspective. Gerald theorises that the inspector's visit was a hoax. He notes that the photographs shown to each of them could have been different, ensuring no one saw the same picture of Eva Smith. Arthur makes a phone call to the infirmary and is told there has been no recent suicide case involving a young woman. This revelation brings immense relief to Mr. and Mrs. Birling. Mr. Birling smugly declares, "There you are, proof positive. The whole story's just a lot of moonshine, nothing but an elaborate sell." Gerald, too, is pleased. However, Eric and Sheila remain shaken and refuse to absolve themselves of responsibility. Sheila remarks anxiously, "I want to get out of this. It frightens me the way you talk." The generational divide between the older and younger characters grows more pronounced. Mr. Birling dismisses Eric and Sheila's moral concerns, calling them naive. He scoffs at their reaction, mocking, "Now, look at the pair of them, the famous younger generation who know it all, and they can't even take a joke." Just as he is basking in his relief, the telephone rings sharply. Mr. Birling answers the call and turns pale. He informs the family, "That was the police. A girl has just died, on her way to the infirmary, after swallowing some disinfectant. And a police inspector is on his way here, to ask some questions." They all stare at each other in horror as the curtain falls, leaving the audience to excitedly debate the implications of this cliffhanger ending.